A couple of weeks ago, I took this Dell Optiplex and transformed it into a super budget $150 gaming PC. Well, today, we're taking that exact same Optiplex, but only putting new parts in it to make it a $300 gaming PC. This is definitely a great option for you budget, but not super budget gamers. Let's get into it. Hey, welcome to Zach's Tech Turf. Today we're going to be taking a look at this $300 gaming PC, benchmarking it, and showing you how to build one for yourself. And if you want to see more PC building or benchmarking videos, then hit that subscribe button down below and also that notification bell. That way you never miss an episode. But yeah, let's check this thing out. Alright, so just like last time, the heart and soul of this build is the Dell Optiplex 3010, which I personally paid $100 for using the Mercari app. This Optiplex is packing an Intel i5 3470 clocked at 3.2 GHz, 8 GB of DDR3 RAM, and a 500 GB hard drive. Like I say in all my videos, the Dell Optiplexes are definitely a great start if you want to build your own budget gaming PC. You can almost always find them for around $100 like I did. Just make sure that it has a decent processor in it like an i3 or an i5 and definitely 8 GB of RAM. Before starting to throw all these new parts at it, I definitely would recommend booting it up first just to make sure everything works and then doing some quick maintenance on it to optimize it just a bit. In the last video using this build, I ended up giving it a quick vacuum. I swapped out the old thermal paste with some Arctic MX4, that link is down in the description, and I fully reinstalled Windows 10. To start off this upgrade list, you definitely want to throw a better power supply in there. I personally went with this EVGA 430 watt unit, but you can really throw in any 400 to 500 watt PSU for around 20 bucks. The power supply is definitely an important upgrade because the one that was included in this build was only like 250 watts or so, and you definitely do not want that powering your new parts. Moving on, the next obvious upgrade here has to be the graphics card, and I went with a PNY GTX 1050 Ti, and that's a single fan design so it would fit in this case. I really wanted to put this GTX 970 in there. That video's up there. It would have performed way better, but in this case we're definitely limited on space. If you're feeling a bit handy, you could definitely Dremel out the metal brackets in here that store the hard drives, and then you could fit pretty much any GPU you wanted in there. Don't forget, you could definitely swap out the entire case if you wanted to. That's definitely an option, but in my opinion, you don't want to throw too much money into an Optiplex build. And finally, the last upgrade that I feel is 100% necessary in a $300 gaming PC is a small SSD for both your operating system and most used software or games. Sticking with the new parts theme, I went with this 120 GB Kingston SSD that I found on Newegg for exactly 30 bucks, but you could definitely find a slightly cheaper one used if you wanted to. Adding those three parts in the Optiplex is definitely going to completely transform it. Adding an SSD in there is going to make the entire PC load much faster. It's really not that fun using a PC in 2018 without one, and that GTX 1050 Ti is going to let us get some pretty high frame rates in 1080p. Before getting into the benchmarks, please keep in mind that the i5 3470 can definitely handle a bit beefier of a graphics card without being a terrible bottleneck. Like I said, I definitely wanted to squeeze in a GTX 970 in there, but with space being an issue, I went with the 1050 Ti. The first game up on our benchmarking lineup was CSGO, and here in 1080p with high settings and no anti-aliasing, our usual benchmarking settings, this PC could crank out a very impressive 173 frames per second. Next up was Dota 2, another easy to run game, and in 1080p with high settings it averaged again a very impressive 106 frames per second. As usual, please ignore my terrible MOBA gameplay, I know it's bad. The insanely popular Fortnite was up next. I actually made an entire benchmarking video with budget graphics cards on this one by the way, and here in 1080p and high settings we got an average of 82 FPS. Getting into the tougher to run games, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds was up next. I'm definitely loving this new smaller map by the way, and in 1080p and medium settings I got an average FPS of 51. You could definitely crank down the settings a bit lower if you wanted to get more higher FPS. And finally, the last game to run like usual was Far Cry 5, and in 1080p and normal settings with no anti-aliasing, we still managed to average above 50 FPS, which is definitely impressive considering how tough this one is to run. Overall, I'm very happy yet again with how this Optiplex build turned out. I'm such a fan of finding these $100-ish Optiplexes, adding a few parts, and it's quickly a decent little gaming PC. Well, that wraps up my $300 Optiplex gaming PC build guide. Make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel because I'm going to build yet another Optiplex build in a different price range, and then I'm going to compare all of them side by side. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please drop a like down below to help support my channel, and as always, thank you for watching. And please subscribe for more Zach's Tech Turf videos.